Every MotoGP fan thinks they understand riding styles. They see riders dragging elbows, hanging off the bike, or standing up under braking, and assume it's all just technique. But that's where most people are completely wrong. You see, MotoGP riding styles aren't just about how a rider moves. It's about how the entire physics of motorcycle racing has evolved, generation by generation. It's about the invisible war between human instinct and machine design. Because decades ago, MotoGP riders didn't hang off the bike at all. They sat upright, trusting the grip of thin tires and steel frames that flexed like rubber. Then, the sport changed. Bikes became monsters, too powerful to tame with old-school methods. And the riders who failed to adapt disappeared. They were left behind, not because they weren't fast, but because their style became obsolete overnight. Every evolution of riding style came with blood, broken bones, and shattered careers. From the old-school body-in-line posture of the 500cc two-stroke era to Valentino Rossi's revolutionary body hang-off that defied physics, to Marc Márquez's extreme elbow-down lean angle that broke the limits of human control. Each phase was not just innovation, it was survival. Today's MotoGP riders aren't just athletes, they're biological extensions of the motorcycle itself. Their bodies have become part of the aerodynamics, their reflexes wired into traction control systems, their instincts calibrated like onboard computers. And here's the disturbing truth. The evolution of riding styles isn't slowing down, it's accelerating. The techniques that dominate today will be ancient history in just a few seasons. So, in the next 12 minutes, I'm going to take you through that evolution, step by step, and show you how MotoGP riding went from brute force chaos to a calculated dance with death. By the end, you won't just watch MotoGP the same way again. You'll understand the secret language of how legends are born and how others vanish into history. Part 1. The Era of Control over Courage, 1950s to 1970s. Back in the early decades, MotoGP, then the Grand Prix motorcycle racing, was pure chaos disguised as a competition. Riders sat upright on skinny machines, gripping tiny handlebars as the bikes shook and slid beneath them. Back then, control wasn't an option, it was a fantasy. Tires were narrow, suspension was primitive, and cornering meant praying, not calculating. The style was rigid, classic, and heroic, but painfully inefficient. The riders relied on courage, not science. Every corner was an act of faith, and survival was never guaranteed. Part 2. The Steel Frame Era, late 1970s to 1980s. As engineering advanced, riders began to trust the machine more. Steel frames gave better stability, and the riding style started to evolve. The first major shift happened. Riders leaned their upper bodies slightly off the bike, a technique that let them carry more speed through corners. It wasn't about dragging knees yet, it was about staying smooth, flowing, and maintaining balance. The faster the bikes got, the more riders realized control wasn't about force, it was about positioning. This was the first taste of what we now call style over strength. Part 3. The two-stroke revolution, 1980s to 1990s. Then came the 500cc two-stroke monsters, violent, unpredictable, and ruthless. These bikes had insane power with almost no traction control. This forced riders like Wayne Rainey, Kevin Schwantz, and Mick Doohan to invent a new way to ride. Aggressive body movement, hanging off to keep the bike stable, counteracting the explosive torque. For the first time, riders used their entire body as a counterbalance system. It wasn't elegance, it was war. One wrong throttle input, and you'd be thrown off like a rag doll. Those who adapted became legends. Those who didn't? Forgotten. Part 4. Rossi's Revolution, early 2000s. Then came Valentino Rossi, the man who changed everything. Rossi didn't just ride, he flowed with the bike. He brought art into racing. His signature hang-off style wasn't just for show. It allowed him to control the center of gravity like no one before. He discovered that by moving his body far off the bike, he could push corner speeds beyond traditional limits. Every lean, every knee drag was precision calculated. His riding became a blueprint, a universal template for the modern MGP rider. Rossi didn't just evolve the sport, he redefined it. Part 5. The Marquez mutation, 2010s. And then came Marc Márquez. He didn't follow Rossi's rules, he broke them. Marquez's elbow-down style looked insane at first, almost alien. But it was pure physics. He learned that by leaning beyond normal limits, with his body nearly parallel to the ground, he could maintain insane corner speeds even under brutal braking. His reflexes operated faster than most riders' thoughts. Marquez used his body as a crash detector, letting the bike slide beneath him while he controlled the chaos. He didn't just ride the motorcycle, he fused with it. That's not a riding style, it's evolution on two wheels. Part 6. The aerodynamic era, 2020s to present. Modern MotoGP is no longer about body and bike, it's about aero integration. The wings, the downforce, the ride height devices, they've changed the game again. Riders must adapt to new forces that literally push them into the ground. You'll notice today's top riders like Bagnaia or Martin barely move their upper bodies compared to Rossi's generation. Their focus has shifted from balance to aerodynamic efficiency. Every movement affects airflow, grip, and stability. They're not just racers, they're test pilots of high-speed aerodynamics, controlling a rocket disguised as a motorcycle. Part 7. The psychological shift. But here's what few understand. The evolution of MotoGP riding styles isn't just mechanical, it's psychological warfare. As the bikes became more technical, riders had to become less human. The sport demands emotionless precision, cold calculation, and machine-like reactions. Every movement, every lean angle is determined by data. Passion no longer wins races. Discipline does. The modern rider must train their brain to silence fear, erase hesitation, and trust the invisible logic of sensors and electronics. In short, the modern riding style isn't just a physical evolution, it's mental reprogramming. Part 8. The future of riding styles. So what's next? Imagine riders no longer hanging off the bike, but inside it, integrated through data suits, sensors, and adaptive controls. Imagine cornering techniques that respond automatically to neural feedback. The next generation won't just adjust their body, they'll sync their nervous system with the machine. MotoGP is heading toward a future where the rider becomes less of a human and more of an algorithm. And this future isn't decades away, it's already beginning. Part 9. The final evolution. The human limit. Every evolution in MotoGP riding style has pushed one question closer to the edge. How far can the human body really go? There's a point where muscles, reflexes, and courage can't keep up with technology. That's the line MotoGP is now racing toward. The final frontier isn't about lean angles or aerodynamics. It's about biology itself. The next breakthrough won't be mechanical. It'll be human adaptation, or human extinction from the sport. So now that you've seen how MotoGP riding styles evolved, from fearless rebels balancing on steel frames to modern cyborgs dancing with aerodynamics, let me ask you this. Which era do you think truly defined the soul of MGPT? Was it the raw chaos of the two-stroke beasts, when riders had to wrestle their bikes like wild animals? Was it Rossi's golden era, when technique became art and personality mattered more than data? Or is it today, when precision has replaced passion and the rider has become an extension of the machine? Because here's the truth. Every new evolution in MotoGP doesn't just make bikes faster, it kills a little piece of what made racing human. Every time a rider adapts, a part of the old soul dies. And that's what I want you to think about. Are we still watching racing, or are we watching the final transformation of man into machine? Comment below. Tell me which era you believe captured the real essence of MotoGP. Because this debate isn't about technology, it's about identity. And the moment we stop questioning it, MGPTT stops being MGPTT.